All right, let's start for today's tutorials. Today we have the part A, B, and C. So part A, as usual. So this is a review question from your lecture class. Everyone ready? Can you start now? Yes? Yeah, let's start from the first question in part A. So which one is not example of the design model? What do you think about? What's the answer? Yeah, think about the design model. So diagram of the design model. What's the main purpose of the design? The design model is for implementing your system, to build your system. So which diagram is what we need to build your system? And we have another model, which is the requirement model. So requirement model is for finding your problem of your system, while finding of your requirement of the system. That is requirement model. Design model is to build your system. So which diagram is for making your system? So which diagram is for finding the issue, the problem, or the requirement? Then we can find the answers. Okay. What do you think about? The answer?
C, sir.
Is C, right. So design class and the interaction class package diagram is the implementation of your system. Okay. And the use case is analysis of your system. Okay. So we already practiced for the use case diagram to finding the issues, to analysis of your program. That's the use case diagram. Okay. And move on to the next question. So which one is not activities of the system design? That's the same question. System design. So what we need to do, the two, making your system. And this one, we need to pick the not activities for the system design. So which one is not activities for making your system? You just pick. Tell me the answers.
Maybe
A, describe the environmental. So when you build the system, we have to think about the communication with the external, the system or the existing system. So making the interface, that's the describe the environment. Okay. And what the gathered detailed information. So when we need to do this one, when we need to gather the detailed information, why we do this one? To finding your problem, right? To finding the issue, to finding your requirement of your system. That's the main purpose, to gather detailed information about system, right? So not the system design. This one is the system analysis. Okay. So the answer is gather the detailed information. So detailed activities is for the system analysis, not the system design. Okay, does it make sense? Let's go over the another one. So design application component. So design user interface. That's all about your implementation of your system, right? So the answer could be B. Is it clear? So in the later questions, we also describe about the activities, all the activities of the system design later in a minute. Okay, just a little bit for the. Okay, so number C, the 3. So the objective of the system analysis is to understand the needs and the requirement. The one objective of this design is to figure out the solution to these needs and requirements. That's what I said exactly. Okay. So what is about the system analysis and system design? System analysis is for to understanding or to finding the needs of the problem of the system. Okay. So design activities is to fix your problem and figure out your solution of your needs or requirement. So the figure out your solution, that's the main objective, okay, of the design. Analysis, to find the needs and the requirement. So design, build your, fix your problem, solve your problem. That's the main activities for the design. All right. So the answer for the question number 3. So what do you think about it? True or false? Hello? The answer is truth, right? Okay, go to the number 4. The storyboard screen, the report model, the represented the element of the user interface design. Is it true or false? Storyboard screen, the report mockup. Yeah, have you learned about the user interface yet? Have you? Not yet? In a lecture class, have you learned about the storyboard? Yes or no? Hello? Not yet? We may practice during this storyboard, I think the next week or the after the next week. So we will during this storyboard with the user interface. Okay. In this question, the answer is truth. The storyboard is belong to the user interface design. Okay. Next, HTTP is considered to be more secure than HTTPS. Truth? False? What do you think about?
False, sir. False.
False. Why? What did just yeah?
But
Why?
for security, sir.
Yeah, the S for the security. The HTTPS is the HTTP on a security protocol. So that means HTTPS is more secure than HTTP, right? So the answer is false. Thank you. Yeah, that's all for question part A. So just have a look all the questions in part A. If you have any question, just let me know. Then we can move on to the part B. Any question in part A? Then we can move on to part B. So first question in part B, the list and briefly describe each design activity. Okay. Then what is the design activities first? We can move that to here. So what is the design activities? Can you just list all of them? So design activities, we mentioned we're learning in today's class. Well, first one, design activities. Can you tell me the list of the design activities? What we have in the design activities? The first one. Hello? The first one. So describe new environment. Second, design the application component, right? Next, design user interface. What is? And design, so database.
We can't see your screen.
Really? Sorry. So part B, the first question. So this is a list of the design activities. I already write down the first one is the design new environment. I describe the new environment and the design of the application component, design user interface, design database. And then lastly, we also have what's the last? Design classes and the methods. Right? So that's the form. So design activities. Right? So what's the detail actions in each activities? The first one. So describe the new environment. What we need to do actually in this stage, in these activities. So design new environment. What's the meaning of that? So this is our system. So we need to implement this system, and we already have some of the existing, the another system B and system C. We have and D. So we created a new system here. So when you implemented new system, we need to consider what the interface, how they connect, how they communicate between existing system, between two, the new system with, and what is it, the external this system. Think about the interface with the external with existing system. That is describe the new environment. That's the focus on. Okay. So in these activities, we need to consider for communication. So communicate. So with external system, and also need to think about others and co-work with existing, the same thing, system. Okay, that's the main things to do in describing the new environment. All right, the second activities. So design application component. What does it mean? What we need to do? Application component. In these stages, we need to define all the functions, all of the application inside of your system. Also need to consider the interface, how they communicate, how they transfer their data to another application, another functions. The passing, how we can passing the data to the other application. So that's the inside of your system. We need to define all the application component. That's the second activity, second activities, right? So in this case, in these activities, we need to define all the functions, all application, and also need to decide of the scope of the application, size of the application, or the which languages we programming languages. So we're gonna use to build your system. Those activities we must do done in a design application component. All right. Third one, the user interface. So design of the user interface. That means, so we have the users here, how they access to your system. So what kind of interface this system provides? It could be the web interface. So we can use the web browser to access your system, or use the mobile phone to access your system. So web view or the mobile view, and how it looks like of your system. Those are the user interface. Okay. The third one is the user interface. I have to decide. So how to think about how it looks like. So we need to place all the components and how to use the system. Okay. Those are the main topics we need to consider in the design user interface. All right. Next is database. So what we need to do in database? So we need to convert your data model to database schema. It depends on which the management system. So using the Oracle, we can choose Oracle or the MS SQL. This and the MySQL or the something else. That's the example for the management system, database management system. So convert your data to the data schema. And next thing, we need to provide the detailed information for each application. So that means we need to prepare for the code or the define or define all classes in the class 7 classes, and the method for the application, for each application. Okay. Yeah, that's the detailed information for the design activities. Okay, does it make sense? Is it clear now? Then move on to next question. So number 2, so examine the privacy policy, the privacy section of the agreement for the major online service providers such as Gmail, the eBay, or the Facebook. So what are the implications, the conclusions of the privacy the guarantees provided by the company in terms of the control and security? So what we need to do here, so all of the service who used by the public, so by the users need to create their account in a system, and they provide some of the privacy information to the service to use the service, right? So for example, the Gmail or the Facebook, Instagram, so that always provide the free account to all of the users, right? But why? So why they provide the free the services to all the publics? They gather some of the information and they use the information for their business to making their money. So we have to check what is privacy, the policy for each service, and how they collect their information, the user information, private information from the user, and how they use the information to making the money. To realize some of the ideas, we just go to the Google and choose the one of the service. If you want to, you can choose the Gmail, the Google, or the eBay, or the Facebook. Any service you want, you just pick the one of them, and to finding the, I'll show you the, go to the Google it, and we're just checking for privacy. And That's policy. See for yeah, Facebook. Okay, good. Okay, what is the privacy policy for the Facebook? And the search it. And it's come up from the articles, but this is all about the advertisement. So just skip that one. And actually, we wanted to see the document from the Facebook. So this is not Facebook. Wait, that's the Facebook, okay? The Facebook is about the privacy, right? Previous. It could be. So go to the Facebook and checking the privacy, the policy for the Facebook. If you go there, you can see, so what kind of the information do we collect from the Facebook? Okay, if you click the one, there's more detailed information. So the things you do or the information you provide and things others to do and information they provide. Yeah, that's all the information. So how they collect the information from the user side. And also, so how do we use the information? So use the privacy information from the user, from the customer, and they use the information to make for their service, or sometimes to selling the information to the other company. Okay, and so how? So is this information shared? So sometimes they share the information to the other company. Okay, yeah, that's very interesting. So we know so they provided free service, but they gathered our information. We always, when we created our account, we just click the agree. We never read all the policies. So this time we need to check what kind of information we provide to the service and how they use this information. That's the rule. Okay. And how they just have a look. The things you do and information you provide. Things you do and information you provide. So we collect the contents or the other information that you provide when you use a service. Whenever you use a service, they know which service we want to use, including you sign up the account or the create or share the message and communicate with others. Ooh. So when we send the message, also they get us some of the information. So this can include the information in all about the contents or you provide, and such as the location of the portals or the data, the files was created. So they just monitoring the where we portals the taken and some others. So they collect the information about how we use the service and such as the types of the contents you view. So if you're interesting about some of the topics, they keep watching, they keep providing this, the kind of the services to the our account to the users. Okay. That's the way of the collecting the information and how they use the information. So go to the how do we use this information. So go there and click on one of them. So we are able to deliver our service, the personalized the contents. That's the reason we got the personalized something. So something they already provided some of the contents that we are interested in. How they know? So our interest because of they monitoring. So what we need to our activities. Okay. The sort of things described in this the policy. So it's better to read if you have the time. And so you can choose the Facebook, or if you want, you can choose the Google or the eBay, Amazon, any service you can use. Just sit there. So provide, they always provide the privacy policy for each service, how they collect the information, how they use the information. So choose the one service and they're looking for the privacy policy for the service. Okay, that's the number 2 questions. Okay, does it make sense? Is it clear now? Any questions for number 2? Hello?
So that's
Yeah.
answered.
Yes, now you are doing the research for the privacy. What are you doing now, everyone? So which service you pick?
So we can just choose the among these 3.
No, any service you can choose. It's
Okay.
yeah. This is for the example, but if you want to, you can choose any other service as well. What do you want? What are you interested in? The gaming? Role game, yeah. So role is that's the very famous one, the popular, the games. So they also provide the free account for the users. How they making money? Any questions? Okay. No question? Then, so we can go to the number 3. Yeah, look on the website you use to access your bank account. So what kind of the security and the controls are integrated into the system? So what does that mean? Or what is system security and controls? Number 2 again. Number 2? Yeah, question number 2. So we need to choose one of the service, the Google, eBay, the Facebook, or any service you want, and need to check. And after the choosing the one major service, and need to check the privacy policy of the service. So that means how they collecting the user information, and so using that information, how they use the information for their service. You can get some of the information from the privacy, the policy. They always provide some of the documentation for these informations. Okay. Is it clear? So now we are doing the number 2. Okay. Then we can move on to number 3. So number 3. So what we need to do, we also think about the bank account, bank application. So for example, in Australia, we have the commoners, the bank, the ANZ or the Westpac or St. John, where the Saint, what was it? St. George, something like that. That's the name of the right? Yeah, NAB also. So how did you check the security? For example, they provide the ID and password, the user ID and the password. Okay. And also, so nowadays it's very popular for two-way authentication. Have you heard about that? So not only for the checking the ID and password, we also the checking the other way. The non-ID or password. Also, we provide something sometimes of the email, the private email, or the mobile, or the face ID, something like that. So we can mix up, not only one, to mix them two or the more the information, the checking who you are. So one-time password, the OTP as well, Good. So OTP is 1, so on, time password. What is and the face ID. Some of the application, if you use the mobile phone, so just check the face ID. We register the face to the application, and also the send the message. So with the security code. Go to your mobile phone to send the email with the authentication, the link. What else? Either or, other way. So use the ID and password, OTP, the one-time password. You use the face ID can be used, or the security question. The security questions. So, for example, so what is your favorite? The favorite default? Something like that. You can just create this on the question for the private information with the private information. Or the favorite dog, favorite food, favorite dog, the favorite subject. You can choose. You can create it. Okay, that's the security questions. Or sometimes they asking you the date of birth. Okay, date of birth. Not that. Date. So those kind of the security they check and they confirm to who you are. Okay, just to think about what other ways you have in your bank account, in the application. Any other method? Then you can just restart and write down on your reports. All right. Yeah, that's number 3. Yeah, so we are done with the part B. So now we have the another part, which is part C. The part C is about the assessment 3. So read through the assignment 3 specification provided in the subject outline, and so come up with a list of the use case related to the given case study. Okay, and created a new the use case diagram. So with the use case, the identify the overall. So now we can start for your define the assessment. So where did the subject outline? Subject outline we provide in the Moodle. So go to the Moodle and scroll up the very first link, I think. Yeah, that's the one. And this is your subject outline. So download the file and open it. Okay. And scroll down to assess assignment 3. What is assignment 3? So assessment 3 is case study. The assignment, so due date is week 11. So the portion of your marks is 20, the marks in total in final. All right, and just keep down so we can get the detailed information about the assessment 3. This is assessment 2. No. And keep down. Here's so assessment 3. Okay. Just read through together. See, assessment type, the case study assignment individual assessment in the 2000 world are limited, right? The purpose of this assessment, so this assessment is to report on the system analysis and modeling, and the report is designed to assess your practical understanding of the system analysis and design within the system project. So having the analyze the project case study, so you are assumed to have a clear insight into the scope of the system analysis with the system within system, the development project. So we are learning about the system analysis and design. So through the whole the trimester, and we need to practice. So the assessment 3 will provide some of the project to you. So we are using all the information we're learning in a class. We can just put it into your report. That's the assessment 3. So study are required to analyze the system requirement. So this one required the system requirement and drawing the diagrams, all of the diagrams, so such as activity diagram, use case diagram, domain model, system sequence model diagrams, and the user interface. So for the given this case study. The assessment aims to develop your understanding of the relative skills and the issues in the various aspects of the system analysis and design. So everything you can use, we are learning in the class. So this assessment contributed to the learning. No, don't worry about that. Yeah. So the values, the marks is 20 marks of the total score, the final scores, and due date is week 11. So, but we can start from today, week 8. The assessment types, analysis, modeling, and system requirement. Yeah, the due date is week 11. Case study. So this is a detailed information about the case study, right? The fixed auto. This is the name of the company we are working on. The fixed auto is the chain of the vehicle repairment shop in Sydney. So this is vehicle repair shops in Sydney. Okay. So because of the COVID-19 pandemic and increasing the competition, so the owners wanted to develop the software in order to automate the business for the improvement service to their customer. So because of the coronavirus, so the increase of the competition, so between the business, so the owners wanted to develop some of the software, so making the automated our process, their business, okay, using our system. So what actually they want? So as a system analysis, so you're required to analyze and design the vehicle the repair management system. That is our task. Okay, we need to analyze and design the vehicle repair management system. That's the name of the system we need to develop. Okay, we can start to making this system. So VRMS, the vehicle repair management system. Then should be able to perform the tasks such as the track. So those functions we need to have in a system. Okay. So what is that? So that's the detail. So such as to track the repair jobs for the vehicle, so daily point. So we need to keep track of the repair jobs. All right. So for the item, so the items that we used for each repair, we also need to keep track of the items and the labor cost for the each repair jobs, or the mechanical performance each repair jobs, and total cost of the each jobs. So we need to keep track of those information. So vehicle, the items, labor cost, and the mechanical performance, and total cost of the repairs. Okay. The system should be able to accept the new, that's the system functions, right? The system must be able to accept the new repair jobs. Accept the new repair jobs, that's the one functions. Allocated to jobs to the developer, the mechanic for the repair. Okay, that's the another jobs. and need to send the relevant information to the customer. So send the information to the customer and calculate the cost. Okay, so then also need to calculate the cost as well as the approximately the vehicle, the pickup date, and calculate the times. So need to calculate the pickup and the time, pickup date and the time. And staff should be able to provide any discount based on any special conditions and the process of the payment so made by the customer. So also need to provide the payment functions in the system and some of the discount in a payment. Okay, system should also allow the authorized access to the staff, the management to generate the view, the customized report for the proposed system. So also need to generate some of the report or the management to generate the system. Okay. Okay. That is the other functions we need to do. So we need to keep track of those information. And also to provide those functions into your system. So overall, system is required to have the following features of the variety users. So that's the basic function of your system. The first one is the customer management operation and the repair management operation and payment process and the login management and report generation functions. Okay, this is basic the functions into your system. Okay, so create, delete, update, such. So what was that? So whenever you generate, you created your app, you're working with the application or the functions, always need to think about the C, R, U, D, the database operations. So what the C for? It's created your data, right? So created the customer data. R, the for. What's the R for? Read your data from the database and need to search the read all of the customer and need to search for specific customer. So CRU, update. You need to update the customer information. So D for delete your customer information. So those four is related to CRUD. So create, read, update, delete. So next one, repair management. The object must be the checking about the mechanic and tracking the detail of the items or the jobs, information for the vehicle repaired. Here's some those detailed information for the repair function. Payment or the payment function. All right, does it make sense? So now you're clear? So when you're running for the requirement of the system, there are two different types of the requirement. Did you remember? So we have the functional requirement, non-functional requirement. So those are, so which types of requirement? These are. Hello? So which types of the requirement of this one? What do you think about? This is your final report. You have to focus on. You have. So what type of the requirement is that? You're right, that's the functional requirement. Okay. So then what is the non-functional requirement? So when you create your report, you need to consider functional requirement and the non-functional requirement separately. The functional requirement is described in here. Also, you can find some more functions. You can just assume, so you can just imagine some more functions and create the function into your report. That's the functional report. Non-functional report. The functional report is something related to the business, right? The business operation, something like that. Repair the cars, repair the vehicle, and the non-functional, the requirement is something about your servers, right? So the performance of your servers, how many data we need to cover in a minute or in a second. So if you have some of the system down, so how we can recover your system, reliability, okay, user interface, what is the security? Those are the non-functional requirement. Okay, so you need to define the functional requirement as well as the non-functional requirement. All right. So these are the example for the functional requirement. You can just list up and into your document. So just like what is the requirement, what is the functional requirement? It those one. So the functional requirement, we need to have customer repair management, payment, login function, and generate report functions. In each function, there's the detailed information. And also need to find the non-functional requirement by yourself. Okay. So you may also add some the possible functions. You can just add more functions if you want. And that's you said. So other possibility function you can add to your reports. So you add the system analysis and you hide the fixed order, the authorized. To analysis and design the proper system that should be able to perform this task according to the detail provided above the case study. So this will also require you to make necessary assumptions. You can add some anything you want. You can add it to the new system. So document all your assumptions in your report. So make sure to provide the approximate reference. So whenever you get the information from the outside, you need to put the reference. So we are using the Harvard referencing system. Then you need to follow the rules, follow the structures. Okay. So your report, that's the important. So your report must be contained at least these sections. So 1, 2, 10. Okay. Those contents must be included in your report. The first section is introductions. So introduce about your company. So this company is the vehicle repair shops in Sydney. So they wanted to, making the online service to make it the automated about the process, okay, to provide the better service to the customer, something like that. So just summarize about the company and write down in the introduction sections. That's the 2 marks. And the methodology. So we know, we have we're learning about the SDLC, system development life cycle. So in this life cycle, we have the this adaptive model or the predictive model, right? So each model, they provide some of the framework. So like the Scrum project or the Agile project, what we have, the spiral model or the waterfall model. There's many the framework to develop your software, right? So we need to describe what is software development life cycle, and there is some of the framework, for example, blah 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 blah, and then you have to choose one of the framework for your system, and need to provide why you choose that framework. It depends on the project. So some project it's good to go, it's better to go the waterfall model. Some project is better to go the Scrum model. It depends on the characteristic of your system. So you have to choose the reason why you choose that one. Okay, that's the methodology sections. And number 3, the information gathering techniques. So after that, we need to gather all the information, which means what is the problem, what is the requirement. So how did you get the information? You can just make some scenarios. You can make your plan to gather the information. You provide some of the interview sections or some questionnaire or get some feedback from the users, and you can just make some plan. And from that, the method, you can get some functional requirement and non-functional requirement. Okay, based on that, the requirement gathering. Okay, that's the section 3. So from that one, so we can get in the requirement or requirement. Okay, and so we already got the whole list of the requirement, right? Functional requirement or the non-functional requirement. Okay, there. And so after then, we need to draw the all use case diagram, all the diagrams. So use case diagram, activity diagram, sequence diagram, domain model diagram, and user interface conclusion. So the rest of the part is just follow from the, you can use the requirement and choose how many? 1 or 2, 2 use case. So 1 or 2 use case from your requirement and start to drawing your diagram. Okay, to draw the diagram, we have to choose which use case we are using. So we picked one of the use case from the number second, section 3. Section 3, so we got all the requirement, right? Functional requirement and non-functional requirement, right? So choose the one functional requirement. So not non-functional. We need to choose one of the functional requirement to draw the use case. And to keep using the same use case, we can use activity diagram. We can draw sequence diagram. From that use case you choose. Okay, domain model diagram, user interface, then conclusions. Just summarize of what you did in this report. That's the conclusions. Lastly, I'm just checking all the formatting guideline. So you have to use your cover sheet. You can download the cover sheet from the Moodle, right? And you need to insert your table of contents or the insert of the page numbers. So provide approximately referencing. So if you get the information from the outside, you put the reference. Where did you get the information? And lastly, so name of the file need to follow the rules. So your name with the ICT exams, 103 exam. Okay. I think that's all. This is criteria how we marked your reports. So if you have the time, just checking the one by one. Introduction, methodology, requirement gathering, use case, activity diagram, and the sequence diagram, domain, interface, conclusion, structure. So every sections, we got the 2 marks, I think. Yeah. All right. Is it clear? Any questions for your report? Hello. Yeah. That is your assessment 3. So one more mention, for the due date is week 11. So end of the year trimester is very busy, so you must keep your schedules just to submit your file into the Moodle. Okay, and we only we have the 2 weeks. So after you created your report, you need to do some presentations in a class. It's gonna be week 11 and 12. So when you're ready, you can do in week 11 or you can week 12. That's the individual presentations. We do the tutorial class. So between week 11 and week 12, that's the 5 marks. So report's gonna be 20 and presentation is 5 marks. Okay, that's all. not all. We have one more things to do. So create the use case diagram for today. So that means we can just start your project from today. So in these scenarios, you have to where it is. In these scenarios, we need to choose one of the functional requirement. Okay, and based on that information, we can start drawing use case diagram. That's the today tutorials, and submit to the Moodle. The part of the assessment and today tutorials. Use case diagram. In a use case diagram sections, we need to do two things. One is complete the use case description, and the other one, use case diagram. But today tutorial only require to draw use case diagram. Okay, is it okay? You know what is use case diagram? Use case diagram. So we have the